Shalom and welcome back to Breslov campus. Some insights in the parsha of the week, Parshat Toldot. Rabbi Nachman, he explains that there's this concept called the Heichal HaTmurot, the exchanged chamber. Exchanged chambers, really in plural. And what it is basically that before a soul descends down to this world from the upper worlds, it has to pass through a section where it is in danger, and that section is called the exchange chamber. It's called so because the soul risks the danger of being exchanged. What does it mean being exchanged? It means that the soul is not necessarily put in the right body, and also the opposite. The destined soul is taken away and replaced with another soul, so the person doesn't have who he really is. It's pretty scary. And it's something which in a sense could be even more damaging than the punishment of a person being in limbo or having to come back in reincarnation, because here everything is upside down. The person isn't who he really is in the first place. So he has to first wake up from this imaginary scenario, and only then to begin to work on himself. That's how scary it is. Rabbi Nachman brings a story, for example, of a Rav and a businessman, that they made a deal with each other, that whoever would die first would come to the second person who's still alive and tell him what's happening there in heaven. They made this deal, this contract, and it happened that the Rav passed away first. And the man was waiting and waiting and waiting years and years and years, and the Rav didn't come to him in a dream or something like that to tell him an indication or something what's happening there. The man saw that he was getting very old and he was close to his deathbed. He called over his son and he told him, listen, I'm leaving this world very soon, and I want you to know that I made this pact, this deal with this certain Rav, and he was supposed to come back to me to tell me what's happening. I'm leaving this world also now, but still I want the pact to be met, and I'm giving over the power of attorney to you, my son, that you should now be in charge of receiving the eligibility of receiving the information from this Rav, that he should come to you instead of me. I'm leaving. I have no idea where I'm going, so I'm giving over the power of attorney to you, that he has to come to you now. With that, the father passed away. 25 years passed since the Rav passed away. Finally, he came to the son to make the pact, with the pact. That was the agreement now. So the son asked the Rav, why did you take so long? My father was waiting and waiting for you for years to come to him to let him know what's happening, and only now you come 25 years later? So the Rav says, can you believe it? I was only made known now, after 25 years, that I passed away 25 years ago? 25 years ago I passed away, and only now I was informed that I passed away. I was living in an imaginary world, and that's the idea of the Heichal HaTmurot, because it works both ways also. It works when a soul descends down to this world, and also when a soul ascends back. He's also in danger of being trapped on the way going upwards to the exchange chambers, where nothing is happening. The person's like in an imaginary world, and there's no judgment, there's no Gehinam, there's no Gan Eden. It's all on freeze, and the person is not getting anywhere. It's just an imaginary life, totally imaginary. So it's a danger. And it's done by the other side, obviously, the other side of the demons who are in charge of this exchange chamber. What they gain benefit is they nourish off the life supply, the spiritual nourishment of the neshama while he's being exchanged. While he's sleeping in sleeping mode and like in an imaginary world, they're living off what he has. Something like the Matrix. If we're going to compare it to a movie, something like the idea of the Matrix movie, okay? Now you know where they got the idea. So, this is the danger, and with this in mind, we can understand the idea in the parsha of the week of the twin brothers Yaacov and Esav, that their true firstborn son was Yaakov, but Esav was the one who forced himself out to get the birthright to be the firstborn. And Esav, not just the physical Esav, but the country, the people of Esav, of this world, are always trying to show we are the major people, we are important, and the Jewish people are the ones who are secondary and of no value, little value. This is the attitude of Esav. For example, in Germany, for example, that we're not considered even human rights to have a right to live and survive. Just the idea that Esav, not just the physical Esav, but the attitude that Judaism and spirituality and Shabbat and worship to God is secondary. The main thing is making yourself good in this world, having everything you need, physical and everything. That's primary, and your spirituality is secondary. Rav Nosson explains that this also is an attitude which is received from the exchanged chamber, that you're not where you should be. You are a prince, you are the son of God, you should be up, and instead they treat you like low, like garbage, like you're nothing, cleaning the floors, and you feel like a low life. And this is not who you really are. You are a king, a prince, and they made you into a servant. This is the attitude from the exchange chambers. Our goal is, in our lifetime already, to try to, as best as possible, to undo the damage inflicted from the exchange chambers. To remember that I am the firstborn. Like the Torah says, Hashem says about Am Yisrael, Bni Bechori Yisrael. Hashem says we are His sons, His firstborn Israel. We're the firstborn. We are the ones who are of importance in Hashem's eyes, and not to accept what we feel in exile, that we're secondary, we're low, we have no value. Our prayers, our davening, our Torah study, where is it getting us? Where are we going? So not to be convinced by those arguments, rather to remember that we are precious, we are Yaakov, and even though Esav is trying all his best to be the first, to be foremost, to be in front, which means physical fame, honor, money, success, etc., Yaakov is holding on the heel of Esav. Meaning what? This is not the truth. This is not the real reality. The real reality is to serve Hashem. Yaakov, the idea of Ekev Anava Yirat Hashem, the heel of humility is the fear of heaven. That is what really counts. That is the true me, who I am. Not my Esav part, but I am Yaakov Bezat Hashem. This is the main idea that Rav Nosson brings in the parsha. We should be zoche to remember our place, not to be fooled by the exchange chambers, which, like I explained, doesn't necessarily only take place before the soul comes down, but even if it allows the soul to come in, its influence is present throughout a person's life of all the exchanges, that I'm not special, that I'm not important, that I'm not going to make it. All those feelings, believe it or not, they also come from the exchange chambers, and we should be zoche to remember our true position, our true worth, our true value, and to overpower the exchanged chambers.